Welcome into another episode of 5 Minutes with Sean, maybe 10. Last week on the show, we talked about salespeople and this idea of them being lazy, overworked, undertrained. And one of the comments that I made in there sort of caught people's attention, and that was the use of social media and sort of the encouragement by organizations of their people to use it. So, and it's funny because I've been wanting to talk about this because while I was out in Boston, I was sitting with a couple of folks who have, pretty good social media presence, and we were talking about, has that become an issue for you? Having a presence online, have the people you worked with, has anyone ever kind of questioned it? It turns out people have been, right? And so I want to really put this out there for people to understand. If you are looking for people online who have built a brand and you want to bring them into your organization, why is it that you believe when you bring them in, they would have any desire to change who they are? Why would you think they would use social media less once you hired them? I'm hearing this across the board. Even salespeople who are doing cool things online that are catching the eyes of bigger stores, that bigger store will acquire this individual, bring him into their organization, then tell them they can no longer be who they are. I think this is ridiculous. I think if you are out curbing your people's enthusiasm for being on social media, for utilizing a platform that is going to be very localized, going to be very important for content, you might be doing yourself and your organization a disservice. Now, the reason I'd like you to sort of take this as real important is because I myself am now a social media adopter within the business sense of the word. I do not do it in a personal way. It is always about business for me. But we didn't want to put me on social media. Okay, if that makes any sense to any of you now that you've seen me for a couple of years on it. We were afraid that it would do a negative. It would be the wrong way for people to see who we were. Turns out that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted people to be turned off by the brand, then they were eliminated from the pool. Makes it a lot easier to have a smaller pool of people who know what you're about and still want to talk to you without having to put in the effort of explaining yourself previously. So we're happy to have what we call a social dossier of all the information about who we are, our thoughts, and it's all out for public consumption. But what we didn't realize is how valuable it could be. We were worried about the negative. And my assumption is that's what dealerships and or organizations are doing. Doesn't have to just be car people, man. I've got people outside the car business trying to do social media, getting cracked down by their businesses. So, and please, do not mistake me for this. I'm not talking about communicating with your friends. I'm talking about video, growing content, growing a following. I'm not talking about jerking around on social media. So I want to make sure we're clear on that. Obviously, you've got to make sure your people have a plan to do social media, but let me ask you something. Why would you? I've got a guy I follow up in Canada, right? I've called him out a couple of times now, Jeff Hunter. Dude is super smart, does a great job. If you had a guy like that in your organization who was just going out doing walkarounds, trying to spread the word about the dealership, why would you come to him and try to get him to slow down? Why would you come to him and say, whoa, pause the brakes. Your brand is too big. Now, I used him as an example. That didn't happen to him. But I used an example of something I'm hearing quite a bit of people saying, your brand's getting too big. It's not what we thought it was. You can't be doing this for our store. You do realize, dealerships and companies, that these people will just get up and leave, right? You do realize that they're building a brand that they want to attach to you. They want to make a part of what you do. But if you don't let them be who they are, they're liable to go find someone who will. And they're trying to make you guys money and themselves money. But if they can grow the brand, I'm just not sure why people would ask them to stop. Now, my assumption in dealerships today is that old school people want to look at it and say people are wasting their time jerking around. And trust me, 2 years ago, I would be among them. But let's be smart and look at what could change. In 2 years, lots can change. Social media has changed exponentially, privacy laws, etc. There are so many things now that we have the ability to do that we should be doing it. We shouldn't be making excuses about it. And again, I agree. No wasting time on social media. But I don't think that's what anybody here is talking about. I think we're talking about people who you think are getting bigger than your store or bigger than yourself or even bigger than the brand. And I got to tell you, if you're not encouraging these people, you're not helping the cause, man, at all. It's a real issue. As I told you, my own journey, how it worked, it was important to me to not be on social media because I thought that it was kind of not going to be the best use of time. But now that I've put it out there and I've seen my company grow through it, I've got to say, was something part of me wishes I would have done earlier, but I also know in my life that when things happen, they happen for a specific reason. So we got on when we were supposed to get on, and our company has grown since then. I mean, social media has done so much for us that by the end of this year, we may be having a waiting list to get involved in our services with new clients, which is a crazy thing to consider because 12 months ago, that was not our position. But over the last 12 months, with all of the brand building that's taken place over 6 months, the wave has come, and it's come right on top of us here. And we got back to surf on top of it. But if it comes again and it gets bigger, no guarantees, right? So you've got to use social media to your advantage. So that is where I'm at with it, people. Please do not stop people from building brands. It don't cost you shit. And if you were smart, you'd pay for these people to get out there and do more. You'd incentivize them to be a part of the social media landscape in your area. Thank you guys so much. As always, you can find us everywhere. You can find podcasts. Don't forget, check out the YouTube channel if you miss it on any of the other forecasts. Thank you so much and have a great, great week.